Alright, in this video we're going to talk about Anarchy versus Finality's Auger. Personally, I think Finality's Auger is the better weapon. When you turn into its turret mode, it is basically like Anarchy. It does damage over time, and then you do damage with your specials. So it's the best one to compete against, to categorize which one's better. Personally, I love Anarchy, but I also love Finality's Auger. I think it's really good. So we're going to actually test it out here. No damage increase, nothing. We're not even going to activate bait and switch or anything for Finalities. It's literally just going to be the turret damage, one turret set of damage, and one set of Anarchy damage, and that's it. So we're going to shoot 2 Anarchy on a boss, 1 on the ground, see how much damage it does. We're going to use Finality's Auger, 1 turret set, and see how it does. And then we will show what my favorite build is for this thing. So we're using this boss. It is in the Grasp of Avarice. It's the first boss. So we're going to use him. So let's get to clearing it, and then we will be back for the damage part. Alright, here we go for damage. And that's damage, alright? Kill me. No, you're supposed to kill me, damn it. I'm glad that melee didn't connect. Alright, we're gonna see what Dilmer did. Shot 2 on the ground, 1 on him. Or 1 on the ground, sorry, and 2 on him. We did 210,387. Okay. So now we're gonna try turret mode of Finality's Auger and see what the damage we do with it is. With, again, no damage bonus of any sort, just purely the turret itself. Let's go clearing. Alright, we go for damage with the turret. Alright, and that's the full turret damage. Let's see what the damage is now. No damage buffs, nothing, like I said. Bro! I'm gonna die to the balls before he kills me. Damn. Embarrassing, Bungie. Yep, literally. They couldn't kill me, bro. I didn't have anything keeping me alive. 365 damage. Over 100 more damage. And mind you, that's with no buff, nothing else, nothing increase. Now, yes, you can obviously put buffs and stuff on, and it's pretty crazy. Now we're going to build into the build I personally like the most of, and explain how it works. And then we're going to test it versus Anarchy to see if maybe it changes once you put other things in it. So first, we're going to run actual damage now. So 2 solar ones for my damage, for the one I like to DPS with. Then we're gonna run this. We're also gonna proc bait and switch this time, since why not? Actually, no. Let's test out bait and switch beforehand. Let's look at bait and switch before we even do my build. Actually, let's look at this properly. All right, so let's clear it out again, and we'll do the testing. All right, here we go for damage testing with bait and switch active. All right, bait and switch is active. Another damage increase, other than just bait and switch. Procced it again. Alright, that's damage. Let's see what the damage was now. Full damage. For it. 482, almost 500,000 with bait and switch procced. That is crazy increase. Which, Anarchy doesn't have any type of damage perk, which that might change one day, but for now it doesn't. So, just right away, with just bait and switch procced, this thing's pretty nutty. I think everyone can agree. So, we're going to now show off my build that I love, the best build I like for damage, and we're going to actually compare that build with Anarchy as well. And we're going to see which one does more damage. It's just going to be weapons. Usually I put a super abilities in, but it's just going to be the weapons. And we're going to see how that goes. We will be using Bolt Charge as well, because it's the most thing. We're not going to use super. We're going to use Bolt Charge. Probably our grenade just to get our shield back quicker. But we're not going to use the super because the super we know is broken. We don't need to do that. So we're going to show off what we use. Obviously defibrillating blast, because obviously you got the flashover, you've got the electric, you've got the overclock and load, but then we also photonic. That's all for arc, and then for stasis or strand, sorry, we use this. Picking up an orb gives you unraveling rounds, and then threadlings. Obviously to create unraveled targets, spawns a threadling every time this thing unravels. So it's a good combo, extra damage. Make sure your Tomb of Want's active, so you get the boost. Even though it doesn't say it's active, it is active. I don't know why it's saying it's not active right now. That's some Bungie thing, I guess. I don't know. It's actually, let's put this one on. See if maybe it activates it then. We're a little bit of a bug here we're having, but no. Okay, so it's just broken. I don't know what's going on with that. That's a problem for another day, but it's fine. Multiple threadling, so we're going to still use that. We're going to use the arc one here, and we're going to use this one. So strand weapons deal increased damage. We are going to use the call, which is Vorpal and Slice, so it's going to reduce the boss's damage, and it's going to do a little bit extra damage, and because it's strand weapon, it'll do even more damage to itself, which is awesome. We're going to use Scythe Pump with Envious and Honing Arsenal, or Elemental Honing, sorry. And then we're going to use Finality's Auger. This is the role I run. Usually we run, like I said, we throw a super in, but we're not going to throw a super in this time. We're just going to run the shield with the setup for Bolt Charge being cracked, and we're going to run these, and we're going to show the DPS, and then we're going to run it again with Anarchy and show its DPS, see if there's a difference. So, let's get into it, and we'll get to damage. Alright, we go for damage. Okay, what the? Bungie did damage instantly for once? That's crazy. Alright. I don't know why the damage happened instantly. Alright, kill me. Let's see what our damage was. .4, let's go. There we go. So we could, more than likely, if we were actually on time on that, we should have hit 2.5 mil easily. So, 2.5 mil, pretty easy to hit, without much issue. So now we're going to use Anarchy with the same build, and we're going to try it out. But because Anarchy has to be reapplied every few seconds, we'll have to keep applying it. So this could end up working better, could end up working worse. We'll see. Anyways, we're going to switch the... Okay, we have no boots for damage. We're still not using boots for damage, so we don't have to switch those. So mind you, those as well, that would have put easily over 2.6 mil if we would have been using those 2 damage boosts for the boot, 2 solar in that situation, or 2 arc. We could have easily pushed past the 2.5. But okay, we're going to get into it, and when we get to damage, we'll come back. Alright, on to damage. Now with Anarchy. With that. Alright, that's damage. No supers, nothing fancy. Let's see. Base damage, what do we get? Come on. Okay, well. Can we kill me? Can we kill me, please? Thank you. Doing testing. I need you to kill me quicker. Thank you. 2.3 million. So, what we get... Okay, so as we saw, Finality does more damage. It does about 100,000 to 200,000 more damage around there, which is insanely good. Every bit of damage helps, which maybe 100,000, 200,000 isn't that much of a deal in the long run, especially if it's broken stuff like Queensbreaker and stuff, but there are several bosses it's very hard to hit crits with, where as or crits don't work, or shields prevent crits. So something like Finality's Auger is really good, and Anarchy can't stick to shields, so shields that bounce off of, so that makes it also trash because of that. Whereas Finality's Auger doesn't matter, shield or not, it can hit damage and full damage constantly. So that just makes it better all around. We obviously did not show off particle reconstruction. If you didn't know, particle reconstruction does actually stack with the turret. The turret's damage does increase because of particle reconstruction to the 37 point whatever it is damage increase overall. We didn't show it because that is not going to be here next season, more than likely. We did, even though we still did use the bolt charge and stuff, the bolt charge is only doing between with the also the unraveling rounds and the thread link stuff, all that, you're probably looking at most between 100,000 and 200,000 damage. I think that's a little high. I think it'll be a lot closer to the 100,000, but we're going to put it between there. You'll be losing, so just do the math there, and you'll still see that Finality's Auger still dominates. And if you put Particle Reconstruction on, you're going to do 37% more damage than Anarchy anyways, on top of what you're already doing more of. So it's just better as a whole. If Anarchy eventually gets a bait and switch catalyst, then it'll probably be just as good. Again, other than shields, because it doesn't work against shields, so Finality's Auger is great against things that have shields or doesn't have crits, so it just makes it better in that form too, so obviously it's good. So, Anarchy, I know, doesn't hit crits as well, but that's the point I'm making, is because of shields, it can't hit anything, so. These two both great against people that can't be critted, but this one's bad if it has a shield, this one's great if it has shields, which makes it automatically better, in my opinion, especially for the new activities. We also didn't use the Solar Surge for it. I always use 2 Solar Surge or 2 Arc Surge if I'm using whatever weapon I'm using, or Void or whatever. I don't use 3, I know a lot of people use 3, which would be even more damage, but I always use 2 and do fine. So it allows me to have other things as well. So I would recommend, make sure you have 2 as well. That would give you, I think, like a 10% damage increase, or 5%, 7%, something like that. I don't remember the exact percent. But it gives you a little bit extra, so definitely use them as well. But as a whole, from I think the show's Finality's Auger is better than Anarchy. It's got a lot of positives. Anarchy is not bad by any means, but I'd prefer any day Finality's Auger over Anarchy. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment what you think. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Adios. We out.